Well, our next speaker is a familiar face around here in Central Florida. He joined the Economic Development Commission as president and CEO in March of 2011. He hit the ground running and leads the EDC and represents the four-county region of Central Florida, which includes Orange, Seminole, Lake, and Osceola County. He is well known in the international economic circle as well. He's actively involved in the International Association of Science Parks and the International Economic Development Council. And in 2009, Rick Weddle received the Edward DeLuca Lifetime Achievement Award for Excellence in Economic Development. Please give a warm welcome to Mr. Rick Weddle.
Well, good morning, and thank you, Jerry, for that kind introduction. Compelling, authentic, and valid. Three words that describe our new branding campaign as it endeavors. Do I get a do-over? As it endeavors to tell the whole story of the Orlando region. The campaign message, Orlando, you don't know the half of it, highlights our human and material resources, our competitive structure, our rich and deep talent pool, and strong asset base. I'd like to just also take a moment and thank the companies who provided both the cash and in-kind services to be branding partners in this very important program. You see their logos on the screen in front of you. Please join me in thanking them. A couple of years ago, when the Orlando EDC accepted Mayor Jacobs' challenge to come up with a branding campaign that told the whole story of our region, and I would pause just for a second and say, thank you, Mayor Jacobs, but thanks to all of the commissioners here for their unwavering support, not only for the challenge, but the resourcing of this very important program. We knew that we needed a dynamic, talented, and quite frankly, a marketing mastermind to lead this initiative and see it through from conception to execution. That person is Ken Potrock. This past year, he led a 40-member regional branding committee made up of representatives from Orange, Lake, Seminole, Osceola counties, and the city of Orlando. Under his leadership, the committee set into motion a global communications plan that I think you will agree is truly stellar. The amount of time, energy, and hard work involved in developing the strategies that follow the creative vision is quite frankly astounding. But as I have come to learn over this time, there seems to be just no task that's impossible for Ken Potrock. An experienced professional, he started his career in Disney in 1996 and held leadership roles in sales, marketing, promotions, and operations. He's currently the Senior Vice President and General Manager of Disney Vacation Clubs and Adventures by Disney. He has served as Senior Vice President of Disney Sports Enterprises, Vice President of Marketing, and we'll be here all morning if I go through all of these things, Ken. But he also currently serves on the Executive Committee and the board of the Orlando EDC, and is president of Florida Citrus Sports. But most importantly, at least to me, he's worked almost full-time, I think 24/7, for the past couple of years, chairing and leading the Regional Branding Committee. Please join me in welcoming to the stage Ken Potrock.
Good morning, everybody. Everybody good? You heard it's 15 degrees in Buffalo. Good morning, everybody. Okay, very good morning here in Orlando. So I'm very excited to talk to you today about this branding campaign. You heard in the introduction that I work for the Walt Disney Company. I think that's important because you need to understand the DNA of the Disney organization is rooted in storytelling. And storytelling is one of the things that we need to do as part of this community's outreach to get people to consider us. I want to talk a little bit about the idea of the fact that we have an amazing story to tell, an amazing story. It's been great to hear all the speakers today talk about all these great things that are happening, all the new assets, all the lifestyle opportunities. All of those things are here, but we don't tell that story in a comprehensive, integrated way. And that was really what the premise of putting this campaign together was all about. Now, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what the campaign is, and then I'm going to tell you a little bit about how you can help, because that's a big part of this. We have a lot of influencers in this room today. You guys can have an unbelievable Pied Piper effect on what we do and how we communicate and how we talk about our community. And again, it is a very, very powerful message when it begins to ripple out into the marketplace. So a couple of things that are worth noting. Number one, this is actually a quote that Rick uses quite a bit. We're well known but misunderstood. Interesting way to think about what the research told us. The research told us, and listen, you guys do kitchen research, of your own. When people say, where are you from, and you say Orlando, typically they're going to come back and say, oh, the tourism capital. We need them to understand that there is so much more. Orlando, yes, indeed, does have a dominant industry. That's tourism. But there is so much more. You've heard it today numerous times from numerous speakers. We need to make, and it was really one of the prime objectives of the campaign, was to make what we called the short list. So there's an interesting stat that I'll share with you. A third of the time when companies are looking to relocate to Orlando, a third of the time we make the short list. Think about the short list as the top 3 to 5. A third of the time we make the long list, the top 25. And a third of the time we don't make the list at all. And that, quite honestly, is almost unforgivable. So the idea for us is to shift that in such a way that we are making that short list with much greater volume, much greater frequency, and obviously that will have impact. Because once we get them here, once they begin to consider, once they begin to absorb the story we have to tell, then we've got them. It's as simple as that. And one of the key things that we are focused on is alignment. How do we tell this story? How do I tell it? How do you tell it? How do each of your companies tell it? And in the past, what's happened in Orlando is people have told the story in 100 different ways. And that's not going to work. Basic marketing will tell you it's all about frequency. Tell them the message, tell them again, tell them again, tell them again. And tell them the same way each and every time. And that's what we're going to do, and that's what we're asking you guys to talk about. So we created this ad campaign, and I think, as everybody knows, advertising is a very subjective business. So everybody has an opinion. So hopefully you'll have a good opinion, but I won't try to cede that too much. But what I would like to show to you is some of the creative that came from this campaign. The first piece that I'm going to show you is what we call a sizzle reel. But basically, it's the video content that's been produced. That video content will be used in commercials. It'll be used at trade shows. It'll be used on company websites. It'll be used in a variety of different ways. It'll be used on national TV, local TV, etc. It was created by Anson Stoner, an advertising firm right here in the market based out of Winter Park, and they've done a wonderful job. Let's take a look at that video to give you context of how we're beginning to tell this story.
This is Orlando. This is where we believe in magic and fantasies and wishing upon stars and the power of the imagination. This is where we believe in dreams and seeing them come true. This is Orlando, known around the world as the home of happiness, and to those who live here happily, as home. This is more than just a place to stay a while. It's a place to stay on the cutting edge. Here, innovation comes in every form. Entertainment in every variety. And thriving businesses in every size. So if you think you know all there is to know about Orlando, prepare to be surprised. Because until you get to really know this place, this community, and see all the reasons why it's so magical, rest assured, you don't know the half of it.
Thank you very much for the response. It was a very hard-working committee that focused on doing this, a committee made up of marketing people, strategists, digital media folks that came together and gave their time. I think all of us know it takes a village to do something and to do something well, so we're really pleased. The campaign then begins to shift into other forms, other applications. We call them the legs of the campaign. I'm going to show you just two print pieces here. I know the copy is hard to read, so I actually brought the copy, but you'll begin to see how this begins to extend, not just in a general way, but in a more specific way. How do we talk about key sectors of our industry? So the first one is fantasy meets reality. Hardly a world of make-believe. Orlando is where real people make miracles happen in the real world. Our skyrocketing life sciences and healthcare industry generates $5 billion in annual revenues and employs 86,000 people, many of them schooled right here. So if you think we're all just fun and games, you're in for a healthy surprise. Orlando, you don't know the half of it. Another example that takes you down the real estate side of the business, our home is more than our castle. Welcome to the other Orlando, a place where the quantity and diversity of commercial and industrial properties are major attractions. From ultra-modern high-rises to undeveloped acreage and everything in between, our inventory includes over 177 million square feet of industrial space and 102 million square feet of office space. No wonder businesses grow to love it here. Orlando, you don't know the half of it. So those are two examples of how print would work or how direct mail would work and all the different ways that we can talk about the different clusters and sectors and regions and geography of our wonderful community. I think then you begin to think about, so what is the call to action to all of this? Ultimately, what are we asking somebody that maybe is interested to do? And it's interesting when we first began to talk about this campaign with some of the national media, we told them, Orlando, you don't know the half of it. And by the time we got done telling them the story, they said, I get it. Tell me the other half. Tell me more. Because I know the first half, but I'm intrigued by the second half. So all of that intrigue then leads to driving people to our website. And when you think about the website, it's being used by people that are relocating here, C-suite executives that are thinking about Orlando as a place to relocate or expand their company, or, very importantly, site selectors, which are the hundreds of companies out there that help companies find the region that they want to come to. So all of that is designed to drive people to that website, which becomes a one-stop shopping repository for all of the information that they want, whether it's about real estate, whether it's about lifestyle, whether it's about education. All of those things are loaded into this site so that people can find the information that they need to begin to say, you know what, this was easy, Orlando makes sense, they're on the short list. And that really begins the way we think about it. So how do people react and how have people reacted? I think a number of you know that we ran this commercial in a number of different places. We ran it on NBC as part of the Hero Golf Challenge. We ran it during the 2 bowl games this past year on both ABC and ESPN. And interestingly, if you go on the blogs, you begin to see the reaction from the community. And it is not often that you get to see a universally positive reaction. This was one, though, that I pulled out that was, I think, particularly important. It's been a long time since something has made me feel proud to live in Orlando. But when I saw this ad during the game, it made me happy to call Orlando home. Again, all of a sudden you begin to think about every one of us, every resident in the community is a platform, an opportunity to share what they know about Orlando with other people. And again, we view that very importantly as part of this campaign. So Orlando's story, we've talked about it. I actually want to thank all of the presenters today because, quite honestly, all of them talked about this concept of learn more about the other side. Learn more about Orlando. We know what tourism does. It's easy for a Disney guy to talk about tourism, but know what the rest of Orlando is all about because it's, quite honestly, startling. And when you begin to think about that other half, this is just a word cloud. You begin to understand some of the many things. Jim, I think, talked about quite a few of them, whether it's transportation, whether it's lifestyle, whether it's education, whether it's industry. There are so many things happening here that people want to find out more about. Or when they do find out about it, they're like, I did not know that. And that, again, is bringing them in. That's beginning to get them connected to us. So when you begin to think about what we're trying to do, we're trying to get people, to get the media, to get companies to begin taking notice. At the end of the day, that's what this is all about. An ad campaign is designed to get people to notice and to be hungry to get more information. And that's what we're trying to do with this campaign, and it seems like people are beginning to take notice. Because if you start to look at all the accolades that are happening for this community, and that this is a platform to begin sharing those accolades, it gets very exciting. I'm not going to read all of these to you, but you think about the business accolades, and you heard some of them. You heard #1 in job growth, hotspot for job growth in companies with fewer than 100 employees, best cities for minority entrepreneurs, best cities for college grads. There are a number of accolades that are coming, and more coming literally daily about our community, and that's incredible. Those are all credibility points that we use as part of the campaign. But also when you think about it from a lifestyle perspective, because we've got this wonderful 1-2 punch. You know, we've got all this stuff happening on the business side and the community side, and then you think about lifestyle. You think about one of the next big boom towns in the U.S., the 5th best city for an active lifestyle. You think about our educational institutions, a cool city. The one I like the best, 15th best city for dating. I mean, that's pretty good, right? So you begin to think about what all of these accolades begin to do. When you're telling somebody the story, the reaction is no longer, yeah, right. The reaction is, you got me, let me find out more. So we're really very excited with what we're doing with this campaign, and we really want to put a call to action out to everyone in this room. This is really all about being united and unified as a community. So recognize that we have a platform for talking about Orlando. Orlando, you don't know the half of it. It should be everyone's elevator speech. It's such an easy speech to make. So where are you from? Orlando. Oh yeah, we've been to Disney before. Well, do you know the other things that are happening in Orlando? No, tell me. That's how you start this. And that mushrooms so wonderfully into all of the things that we need to do that lead to the creation of jobs. So please be aligned with this. Please recognize that we're at a unique tipping point. We've got all of this great stuff going. 10 years ago, we might not have been able to say that we have the credibility to go with that statement. No longer, ladies and gentlemen. We have that credibility. We have the ability to tell the story, and we're at a wonderful tipping point. So again, please know what we tried to communicate to you today is we have a great story. I think every speaker told you that. I think all we're asking from you is help us tell that story. Thank you very much.